Continuing our look at the PragerFU video on God and suffering, go Devils, Professor Peter Kreeft turns to the subject of natural or non-human evil, admitting,
as for natural suffering, that poses what appears to be a more difficult question.
It really doesn't. It's the same question. If God is all good, all-knowing, and all-powerful, then any suffering, natural or human cause, presents the same challenge. There is no circumstance in which suffering and evil should exist when such a being is at the helm and in absolute control. Nor is believing in such a being in any way efficient in terms of understanding or relieving such suffering, especially when such belief not only fails to eradicate said suffering, but actually adds to it, gratuitously. Kreeft goes on to make basically the same argument he made for human evil.
If there's no God, there's neither good nor evil. There's just nature, doing what it does.
Apparently, Professor Kreeft doesn't understand how understandable it is for nature to do what it does, only if there is no God. Indeed, the horror of our natural world makes perfect sense only if the universe is nothing more than the product of natural, uncaring forces. What doesn't make sense at all is to say that the horror of our natural world was created by an all-loving super being who knew exactly how things would go, had the power to do otherwise, and simply didn't. If God is as theists say he is, this world simply wouldn't be possible. The question regarding nature and natural evil is, like everything else we've been discussing in the past two videos, not a challenge to God's existence, but rather to God's goodness, omniscience, and omnipotence. Darwin put it this way: what a book a devil's chaplain might write on the clumsy, wasteful, blundering, low, and horribly cruel work of nature. Christians are fond of saying that everything around us declares the glory of God, but clearly anyone who knows anything about the workings of the natural world knows that this place was created and designed by a sadist.
This life is filled with an immeasurable amount of injustice and suffering.
That is a great point, Dennis. Thank you. Kreeft goes on to say,
unjust suffering is a problem only because we have a sense of what is just and unjust. But where does this sense come from? Certainly not from nature. There's nothing just about nature.
You see, this is the point where I just have to ask Professor Kreeft, what the fuck are you talking about? Who in their right mind looks to the actions of the tribal war god of Abraham and says, now there's justice? Is it just to commit genocide, murdering babies and animals with absolute indiscretion? Is it just to kill the firstborn male children of your enemies? There is absolutely nothing just about the tribal war god of Abraham, not from a human perspective. That's why God tells the humans, my ways are not your ways. Damned fucking straight they're not our ways, because you, God, are a fucking monster. And the creation of a universe filled with... Dennis, how did you put it?
This life is filled with an immeasurable amount of injustice and suffering.
Yeah, that's all the proof you need, Pete. You're advocating people worship a monster. Do you have any idea how much shittier that makes our world? For fuck's sake, Pete, knock it off and lose that fucking tie. It's awful. Okay, heart rate back to normal. Okay, we're all good. I just had to get that off my chest. There's still more stupidity to come in the PragerFU video, go Devils. But that's all the time we have for in this video. Join me next time when we return to the regular PG-13 world of these videos and take a deeper look into our sense of justice and where that comes from. Here's a hint, Pete. It's not God, it's real. Until then, I'm the person you've always dreamt of. Thanks for watching.